The Minnesota Vikings have officially found their new leader, hiring Seattle Seahawks assistant GM Nolan Teasley to take the helm. Skol. This massive front office shakeup signals a new era for the franchise, and we are coming to you live from Minnesota to break down the logic behind this high-stakes decision. Whether you are a die-hard fan from Minneapolis or cheering from across the globe, this change at the top will dictate the future of our team's championship aspirations. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like if you are ready for this new chapter in purple and gold. Stick with us as we uncover exactly why Nolan Teasley is the man tasked with bringing a Lombardi trophy to our home city. Nolan Teasley is officially the new general manager of the Minnesota Vikings, marking a monumental shift for the franchise as they transition into a new executive era. According to reports from NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, the Vikings have agreed to terms with the former Seahawks assistant GM, ending a rigorous and exhaustive search process that spanned several weeks. This decision arrives after the front office spent considerable time vetting candidates, including internal favorite Rob Brzezinski and various high-profile assistants from around the league. By choosing Teasley, the organization is sending a clear message about its future direction. Coming off a spectacular Super Bowl victory with Seattle, Teasley enters the building with a pedigree of success that ownership hopes will translate immediately to the competitive landscape of the NFC North. The search committee, led by the Wilfs and COO Andrew Miller, conducted multiple rounds of interviews to ensure they found a leader who could balance immediate contention with long-term roster sustainability. The team's commitment to this exhaustive process proves they were not going to settle for anything less than a proven winner who understands the intricate demands of modern NFL roster building. The move is particularly significant given that the Vikings were operating under acting leadership following the departure of Kwesi Adofo-Mensah earlier this offseason. For a fan base that has been hungry for stability and championship-level results, the arrival of a fresh, externally sourced mind is generating a massive amount of buzz. Teasley's track record of helping construct a Super Bowl-winning roster in Seattle is exactly the kind of resume that inspires confidence in the boardroom and on the field. As we move forward, it is essential to understand that this hire was not made in a vacuum. It was the result of a deliberate, ownership-led initiative to pivot the front office strategy. Fans should expect a more traditional, scouting-heavy approach to personnel decisions under Teasley's guidance, which represents a stark departure from the previous management style. The excitement in the air is palpable as we officially welcome Nolan Teasley to Minnesota and prepare for a transformative period for our beloved Vikings. To understand why Nolan Teasley was the ultimate choice, one must examine his extensive 13-year tenure with the Seattle Seahawks, where he climbed the ranks through sheer consistency and scouting excellence. Starting his journey as a scouting intern in 2013, Teasley steadily proved his worth by moving from pro personnel scout to assistant director, then director, and finally serving as the assistant GM under the legendary John Schneider for 3 seasons. This long-term development provided him with a masterclass in professional team building, covering everything from late-round draft gems to high-stakes contract negotiations. Unlike executives who jump between organizations every 2 years, Teasley's deep roots in the Pacific Northwest allowed him to participate in the construction of 2 distinct championship-era squads. His ability to identify talent that fits a specific team identity has been a hallmark of his career, and it is precisely this trait that the Minnesota front office was looking for. When you look at the recent Seahawks' success, it is clear that Teasley played a pivotal role in the draft and development of core players like Kenneth Walker III, Rick Woolen, and Devin Witherspoon. These guys aren't just talented, they are culture setters who contributed directly to their recent title run. Bringing this type of expertise to Minnesota fills a critical void, especially as the team looks to optimize its draft capital and find cost-effective impact players. The Vikings' decision-makers clearly prioritized someone with a proven, hands-on background in talent evaluation. By selecting a leader who has seen the inner workings of a championship organization for over a decade, the Vikings are betting on a system that works. Teasley's transition from a scouting-based role to the primary GM position is a natural progression for a man who has spent his entire career in the trenches of NFL personnel. He brings a level of continuity to the drafting process that the team desperately needs as they look to build around Kevin O'Connell's offensive scheme. This is a homecoming of sorts for a professional who has earned his reputation through hard work and significant front office success. The shift toward Nolan Teasley represents a strategic pivot toward a traditional scouting-first philosophy, clearly marking the end of the previous analytics-driven administration. For the past 4 years, the Vikings experimented with a non-traditional approach, but the decision to hire Teasley confirms that ownership wants to return to the fundamentals of NFL team building. While candidates like Terrence Gray and Reed Burkhardt had direct ties to the Vikings organization, Teasley stood out as the only finalist without a previous connection to the team or head coach Kevin O'Connell. This autonomy was likely a major factor in his selection. The Wilfs were looking for an objective, external perspective that wouldn't be clouded by internal biases or past groupthink. Throughout the interview process, Teasley's vision for the team's roster stood out as the most compelling, proving that he could step into a new environment and impose a standard of excellence immediately. Furthermore, the role of Rob Brzezinski remains a crucial piece of this puzzle. Having served as the acting GM, Brzezinski's expected return to his role as the team's primary salary cap guru and contract negotiator ensures that the transition won't destabilize the team's financial flexibility. Teasley can focus on the scouting and talent acquisition side while knowing the numbers are in the hands of one of the best in the business. This division of labor is a winning formula used by many of the league's most stable organizations. By combining Teasley's scouting eye with Brzezinski's mastery of the cap, the Vikings are positioning themselves to be players in both the draft and free agency. This synergy is exactly what was missing during the transitional months following the departure of the previous administration. Teasley understands that a roster is built one piece at a time, and his willingness to work within the existing framework of the team while applying his own successful methodologies is what makes this a high-upside hire. The front office is now better aligned, with clear roles and a shared vision for building a perennial contender in the NFC. The hiring of Nolan Teasley is set to have an immediate impact on the Vikings' personnel strategy, particularly regarding how the team approaches the draft and roster depth. Fresh off a Super Bowl victory, Teasley knows the difference between a good roster and a championship-ready one. He has been instrumental in Seattle's success in finding contributors in the mid to late rounds, and Minnesota will be looking for him to replicate that success here. One of the primary areas for improvement will be the identification of defensive talent and offensive line depth, areas where the Seahawks excelled under Teasley's influence. His experience in scouting under John Schneider means he knows how to balance high-ceiling draft picks with steady, reliable veteran presence. This is a critical skill set for a team that has the star power but needs the depth to survive the long, grueling NFL season. Furthermore, his arrival might lead to shifts in the scouting department's internal processes, likely emphasizing more live, in-person evaluations. Teasley has always been a believer in the grind of college scouting, and you can expect to see the Vikings' presence at pro days and collegiate practices increase significantly. This hands-on approach is exactly what fans have been clamoring for over the last few seasons. Additionally, Teasley's ability to work with a head coach, even one he hasn't partnered with before, will be tested early on. However, his track record of communication and collaboration in Seattle suggests he is ready to work side by side with Kevin O'Connell to build a winning culture. While the draft is the cornerstone of his background, Teasley also has experience with pro personnel and trades, making him a versatile tool for the front office. He is a modern executive who respects the old-school values of the sport. As he settles into his new office, the rest of the league will be watching closely to see how he manages the Vikings' assets heading into the next year. The rebuild is officially over, and the building phase has truly begun with a master of the craft at the helm. The arrival of Nolan Teasley is a statement of intent from the Wilf family that they are done waiting for results and are ready to push for a championship. By poaching one of the league's brightest young executives directly from a Super Bowl winning team, the Vikings have signaled that they want to be at the top of the conference, not just competing for a playoff spot. With Rob Brzezinski handling the cap and Teasley leading the personnel department, the structure of this front office looks more balanced and experienced than it has in years. We are witnessing the birth of a new identity in Minnesota, one rooted in traditional football values and rigorous scouting. This is an exciting time to be a Vikings fan, and the energy surrounding this hire is exactly what the organization needed heading into the new season. We want to hear from you. Do you believe Nolan Teasley is the missing piece to finally bringing a Super Bowl trophy to Minnesota? Or are you concerned about his transition to a new system? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below, and stay tuned for more exclusive updates. Skol.